Let me make a little adjustment here for the camera. I think we are good. So we're live. It's Friday. Let's talk about Google. Let's talk about AI implementations. One of the questions I get asked a lot once people find out what I do is what what do I think is going to happen to people um, who have certain jobs? And the answer or the way that we need to think about this is a lot of AI now, and this is consistently improving week after week. If you're a programmer, um, then it's never been easier to program, not because you understand the programming. And I'm talking, when I say program, I mean general terms like, you know, to create HTML and then to use that for creating pages, landing pages, websites, that type of thing, is still important. But for someone who isn't that way inclined, then they can do that through different apps and different platforms. To create landing pages, websites has never been easier. And really, it's just understanding the prompts. Do I think AI will replace jobs? Yes, I do. The first batch, we're seeing this. We're seeing the changing of jobs now coming over to AI is happening, and it will continue to happen for many years. I think a better question will give you a better answer, and that question is: think about it this way. If you're somebody who has intrigue, wants to learn and understand, then now has never been a better time for you to be intelligent. And when I say intelligent, I don't mean intelligence as in, you've got a degree or some sort of qualification. Intelligence for me is the individual or person who can change the behavior in um, in a way that they can adapt to a situation to understand something that's happening right now and learn how to use a interface to get the most out of a product or a service. So if you're looking to um, run some sort of digital, then things that are going to make a difference for you is to learn a skill. And the skill that we need to learn to understand is things like Google, Meta ads. They're going to be around. They have been, and they will continually be a part of what's happening. But also things like using AI. Now, there's so many different applications that we can use AI for. We can create landing pages now. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a designer. It's never been easier, but you just have to understand a little bit of prompting. So prompting is just how or what we say. The more detail that we give for these AI products, then the better the output. If you don't give a good prompt, then you won't get the output that you desire. So you've got to have a little bit of understanding. And again, a lot of people talk to me about using AI. Yeah, we use ChatGPT. AI is not necessarily ChatGPT. There's far more advanced systems out there. Figure out, if you want to be programming, think Claude Code is the way forward. It takes a little bit of understanding how to get that onto your computer. You've got to do a little bit of programming, something called PowerShell. You've got to implement that, make some changes to pathways in the back end of your computer. But once that's done, it takes probably about 20 minutes. Once you've figured that out, then Claude Code is something that you could use. There's a number of different apps that you can use to have a better workflow of what you're trying to do. And I think the key takeaway for what I'm going to say is skill. Have a good skill. Learn a skill that you can use, which is going to be something that isn't going to be sort of you're going to learn it, and then 3 weeks later, then it's not something that you're going to, is going to be something that's going to be replaced. Be on the right side of AI. If you can figure out how to use AI to streamline your business, you can use Claude Code. There's a number of different apps you can use. You can now build apps based around whatever you want just by inputting prompts. A prompt is just text that you put in to make a sentence. that gives the software a better understanding of what or how you want something produced, whether that's a landing page, or website, or you want some headlines, descriptions. But if you're like most people and you're lazy, then you won't get the most out of these particular bits of AI. We've still got to be the person who's putting in the input into these AI. And if you can do that, then you'll get better output from it. I know it sounds as simplistic as it does, but the amount of lazy advertisers that I see is tenfold. And what's happening now with AI? So before AI, what was happening is we would have advertisers, and this is agencies, this is individuals who would advertise on platforms, and they wouldn't necessarily spend that 20 to 25 hours to learn the skill that they wanted, which was to run Google Ads or to run Meta ads. They would look at a video potentially by somebody who they had no idea had credibility, use that strategy, and then run a Meta and Google ad, not understanding the optimizations, not understanding the nuances. The devil is in the detail, always has been, always will be. And if you don't understand the platform, how can you get the most out of it? So what people will do is they will just create some ads, run them, and if they didn't initially, this is the best comment I always hear: my ads were working in the beginning until, yeah, your ads are working in the beginning because platforms initially spike up. They're trying to find out what or where to put your ads. You potentially may get some conversions, and then you'll pull back, and that's where you need to then understand how to get the best out of these platforms, and especially Meta or Google. So that's the best thing that I hear on a regular basis. My ads used to work, yep, but they're not working now. So why are they not working? Well, there's a number of different reasons, but this is the part where people don't spend the time to actually learn the skill of how to run ads. And what's happening now is we've jumped from that now to AI. So now what's happening, rather than still not learning the skill to run ads, what people are doing now is getting their ads, jumping straight to ChatGPT, putting in some really lame, lazy prompts into ChatGPT, and then from there, they're taking those prompts and putting them into their ads. And it's just like they haven't learned the skill of how to get the best out of these platforms. And if you don't learn the skill, how can you optimize? Yeah, I'll just use my AI. Yeah, guys, use the AI intelligently. If you don't use your AI intelligently, how are you going to get the best out of it? And I see it consistently. The more time I spend, and I spent many years running ads, and I just see phases, and now we're in the AI phase, and as fantastic and as great as it is and exciting, you still need to focus on the task in hand, which is to get the best out of the platform. And the only way you can do that really, I believe, is just you need to sit down for 20 to 25 hours, spend a weekend and really knuckle down. And then from there, as you run ads, you'll start to see the nuances, the patterns of these platforms. Oh, I've seen this happen before, so that must mean that if I do this, then potentially this can happen. Yeah, potentially it might happen, but if it doesn't, it's absolutely fine. Then we need to try something else. Have a mindset of curiosity. If you do that, then potentially you'll improve what you're trying to do, which is to be better at advertising, or if you're running it for yourself, then potentially get more of what you want, which is either going to be for services or it's going to be for e-commerce. But again, the principle is still the same. You still need to have an understanding of the platform. And if you don't have that understanding, and think now, because you've got AI, we can skip the whole skill learning, then you're in for a nasty shock. And that's the more often that I'm seeing people telling me that they're running ads and they're doing okay, or they're running ads that were working, they used to work, but now they don't, but they're not sure why. It's because they haven't spent the time and the skill. But that's absolutely fine to do that, because your focus most of the time is going to be on the job that you're doing. So, if you're, say, a plumber or electrician, then you want to focus on that. But then don't do or try to run ads unless you've put a little bit of effort into understanding the platform, or get somebody with some credibility who actually understands. When I say credibility, if you're running ads, get an audit. And again, I provide a 15-minute audit. And the reason I do that is to give credibility, to explain, to give some value. And when I say value, I give enough value that somebody could then take that 15-minute audit, run away with it, and implement the strategies that I've given them and improve their ads straight away. But if they wanted some real expertise, somebody who spent many hours, still spends a lot of time understanding how this platform works, what are the changes that are going to happen, then obviously they can use someone like me. So I hope that makes sense. If you want me to look at your Google Ads, always happy to. And if you want to have a chat about any of this, then always just reach out to me, and I'm always happy to speak to you.